And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Kim Keel, who during her near-death experience was shown the future. Kim, thanks for joining us and welcome.
Thank you for having me. Yes, I was on your program back in August of 2021. And this was when everything had just began for me. I had a near-death experience 16 years before that. And I had attempted to take my life. How far I went, I was in the desert. How dead, I don't know really, but enough to where I was in the desert with Jesus. I could tell you that. I seen myself, I took a lot of stuff, let's put it that way. And I wanted not to be here. I had caused a lot of stuff in my life. I got hooked on drugs and alcohol and all kinds of stuff. And I had, I was a very violent person, very violent, abusive person, really. And I'd done things I couldn't forgive myself for, really. So I didn't want to be here. Let's just put it that way. And the day I tried to take my life, I remember looking out the window thinking in about 10, 15 minutes, I'm not going to be here anymore. Give me gone. Next thing you know, I'm pushing something black out of my way, like a trash bag or so, I don't know what it is. And I'm stepping over into the desert. I'm in the desert. And I'm looking, I'm just like, what is this place? I've never heard about this place. What is this? I don't believe in purgatory, so I don't know where I'm at. And I knew what I had just done. And there's my mother to the right, and she's alive. And I'm thinking, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. I know how I got here, but you don't belong here. What are you doing here? And then I'm looking back to the left and I'm like, this dust it's just a desert. This looks like sawdust. This place is dry. This looks like sawdust. And there's a barn in front of me. Actually, it looks more like a manger, but it's a barn. I call it a barn. And there was just empty. There's nothing there that I could see, and a white picket fence in front of it. Skies, no sun, but it was lit up. Just, I don't know, it was quiet. And I walk over to my mother and I've got a confused look on my face. Like, I know you're not here. You're back there. So what are you doing here? And my mother, I worshiped my mother. I'm the baby of 4, very close to my mama, extremely close. Always have been, like, really close. And I had given her a lot of trouble in my teenage years. I spent time in juvenile prison, teenage prison for 3 years, a whole bunch of trouble, always in trouble. But as an adult, I got very close to her. Anyway, I walk over to her like, what are you doing here? And she goes, look, there's Jesus. And I was like, oh, no, I don't want to see all the stuff I've done. So she's with me, and now I don't see her anymore, but she's there. And I know she's there. And we're walking up to the fence. And on the right side of the barn, there's this little boy about 12 years old with dark brown curly hair, little kip on. He's sitting there and he's teaching these older men that I know were angels. They just look like men. And they were they were like sitting on the ground, like leaning to the left in a U shape, like he was on the back of the barn. They're like leaned around him, and they're very intrigued in what he was saying. And I'm going, that's Jesus. Why does he look like a kid? And that's all I can think. And the people listening to him, they're just loving whatever he's saying. And all I'm thinking is, that's Jesus? So I'm walking down the fence looking back when he looks like a kid. I didn't understand that. And I'm walking down this fence now. And I'm going to the other end of the barn. And I get to the other end of the barn. I'm paying a close attention to these poles on the fence. I get to the last pole. And I'm thinking to myself, you're at the last pole. You're at the end of the fence. And I'm literally right there by the end of the fence, other end of the barn. And I'm taking my right foot, I'm putting it forward. And I hear behind me, one more step, you'll be in outer darkness and you're not coming back. And I stopped and I turned to my left and I stepped around, and now I'm face to face with Jesus Christ. And he's a little taller than me. There's that fence is between us the whole time. And I'm staring at him and he's staring me down, just a staring me down. Not a mean look, but a stare down. And I remember his eyes didn't even have no pupils in it. I remember thinking he had no pupils. His nose was so long. He had the longest nose. Man, it was like, it was the longest nose I've ever seen on anybody in my life. And it was bent like, wow. And I remember when I turned around, that's the first thing I saw was that nose. And I thought, man, I bet he caught all kinds of crap here with that nose, and then I stepped around and now I'm face to face with him and he's staring, he got like looking right through me. And I'm thinking, why is he looking at me like that? It wasn't mean. It wasn't happy. It was just blank stare and just a stare. And I'm like, oh Lord, oh boy, I've disappointed him so bad. I've done this, I've done that, I've done, oh Lord. Every day I'm sitting there thinking all the stuff I've done. And then he nodded his head down and he smiled a beautiful smile, reached his right hand out, laid it on my shoulder right here, said, I forgive you. You're going to teach the people my word. Now I'm like shocked and dumb. I'm like, well, you know what? He must got the wrong person because there's a lot of people coming through this place. Obviously, people dying all the time. And he must think I'm somebody else because I can't teach no nothing. And what's the word? I didn't know the Bible was called the word back then. I didn't know nothing about it really. I didn't even know and even when he sent me back, I was upset. I'm like, he didn't never tell me the word. Now I'm going to burn in hell forever. I don't know what the word is. You sent me back with no word. What is the word? And I'm freaking out. For 16 years, I didn't know. But anyway, get back to the fence. So he's telling me you're going to teach the people his hand right here. Okay. And then he proceeded to show me those same men. They were angels, but they looked like men that was over there. Now they're on my side of the fence over here. Jesus never came across the fence. That fence was between us the whole time. And I turned and looked. He said, look, I've seen the men, they had the Bible in their hand and they had the long robes like the Pharisees and stuff. And they're like, what do you think this means? And they were trying to figure it out on their own. And they raised their hands and they voted on what they thought it meant. Jesus said, there went destructive doctors throughout the generations. It's not my word. And he's meeting men and he showed me people are not relying on the Holy Spirit to learn, just trying to feed off each other and making stuff up. And it's so much different. He had told me at the fence, he said, I have no part of religion or denomination. It all divides up my body. I didn't know what none of this meant when he said it, but I heard him. And I understood with different religions, they all have their own rules and their own way to heaven and all this stuff. And Jesus said they're missing the relationship. It's me. It's a relationship. So I didn't know what to do with any of that stuff at the time. And there's so much more stuff he showed. Some of it I keep to myself. Some is personal. But the bottom line is he was showing me a lot of things that was coming in the future. And I didn't understand this, really, any of it. And the main thing to my testimony before I get into what he showed me about the future was that a lot of people may have an experience with the Lord, even if you're not had a near-death experience, maybe a dream, because we are all made in his image and we're created to be in contact with our creator. He made us to do that. We're in his image. We're supposed to hear him. But that fence, when I gave my life to the Lord, which was April 24, 2020, the first time I was on your program, I looked like death warm over. I showed my YouTube channel. I'm like, don't go back to that one. That's bad. Oh, I was in grief, so much grief during that time. That was the first year that I lost my family. It was horrible. Oh my goodness. And I didn't understand. That's when I started understanding what this was, the stuff that he showed me was right there. Because when I gave my life to him, I wasn't messing around, in order to, April 24, my mama passed away. And then, I lost the rest of my family. I don't know why. I didn't know why. There was no reason for it. I knew why. Nobody knew why. So I felt 5 people in one day, man, that was an overload and unexpected. I knew mama was gone, but unexpected. And that was hard enough to deal with. And I'll tell you, the night that my mama passed, April 23rd, 2020, she died of Alzheimer's and all stuff. And I've been a fear of that my whole life. And I'm watching her pass. No, she's going to pass tonight. Well, I come home after giving my final goodbye to her and I'm cussing God out like you don't know. Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, the most vilest things you could ever tell, God, just the most vilest of whatever I felt could hurt him. I was trying to do it. And then I get the phone call. A few hours later, she's gone. And I'm just like devastated all night long, you know. And I'm like passing out. And when I come to, I know I got to be at the funeral home at 11. When I come to, I smell this smell all over. My house is 4,000 square feet. It's big. This smell, I've smelled this smell as a child. There's things that have happened to me as a kid. When I was 3 years old, I had something that looked like aliens. That's the best way I could describe it. Show up in my doorway. I'll never forget it. I turned around. I was in my bedroom. I turned around. They're in the door. Three of them side by side in the doorway, long and skinny, staring at me. I didn't know what the world. I will never forget that. When I was 9 years old, I came home from church with my mom, and she had on a Sunday. So I just got in the bed. I ain't had a chance to even get settled in yet. And I felt something pull my feet, pulling me off the bed. And honest to God is my witness. I'm sliding down the bed and I'm kicking to stay on the bed. And I know it's the devil. I can't see him, but I know who it is. And I'm like, I'm 9. I'm like, they're going to pull me off the bed and drag me to hell, that kind of thing. And then my bedroom door that's in front of me, bam, busts open. Now we were in a mobile home at that time, so my mama should have heard this. Okay. And the door, when the door busted open, the pulling stopped. And I'm sitting up in bed like this, and I'm watching the door, bam, 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 bam. And I'm like, they're fighting over me. And then it stops to go wham, and it busts open, and the sunny haze comes through my bedroom door, the sparkly stuff in it. And I'm like, wow. I was like, I know the Lord just won. So I get up and go ask my mom. I'm like, did you hear what just happened in my bedroom? Because she's right, there's a panel wall paneling to separate. She said, no. I said, you didn't hear that? There's no way. And I told her what I saw. She said, well, there's going to be a battle over your soul. And I said, well, there's over everybody's soul. So why did I see that? As years go by, I become an older teenager. I start getting into witchcraft and tarot cards, Ouija boards, and you name it. I was in it, drugs and all that stuff. And everything, all my readings was so accurate and everything, man. It was like right on, spot on. So as I tried to get older, as I tried to get out of that, when I got older, had a lot of issues, a lot of bad things happen, man. Levitating in the air, fingers through my hair, stuff to make you think you're losing your mind, really. And I had to go to this church. I didn't know where else to go. And I told them what was going on with me. And they took me to this Benny Hinn crusade. I never heard of him at all. I never heard of none of this stuff. And I went to his crusade, and I'm not saying I've got nothing to do with that man, but this is what happened. And at the crusade at the Coliseum in Norfolk, Virginia, I think it was in Norfolk, Virginia, or Richmond, I think it was in Norfolk. It's thousands of people in that Coliseum. And I'm with this group at this church that I've been to 1 week. And I thought I prayed and got set free at that church. But anyway, they said, come with us to this crusade. So I did. And I'm wearing all black, which is fine, but that's what I have on. And he said, people that have been set free from witchcraft need to come up here if you want to be set free. I thought I already had been. So the church goes, go up there, go up there. And I'm like, I thought I already been set free. So I walk up there to the floor, and there's hundreds, maybe 200 or 300 people lined up. Here he comes off the stage, walking past probably 100 people, and stops at me, said, bring her up here. And I said, oh boy, that's not good. Yeah, I'm past all y'all up. Oh Lord. So he brings me on the stage, and he's come out, and I'm flying all over the stage like I got wings. I'm flying back this way in the bushes, pick her up, flying this way, pick her up. I'm flying all over the place, and he pick her up. So it's moving so fast, I can hear him, pick her up, pick her up, you know. And the last time I remember, it went on about 6 or 7 times to pick her up. I'm on my stomach. And I remember this very good because I thought that I was I thought that I was bending backwards. I was levitating. So I asked the group I was with, I said, I felt his foot on my back. What was he doing? They said, I said, I felt to me like I was bending. I don't know how to do it. Like my head and feet were coming up backwards. So I was laying on the floor. And I said, was I bending backwards? They said, no, you were levitating. He put his foot, pushed you back down. And he said, come out in Jesus' name. Well, it did. And I stood up, and he said, how do you feel? I said, I feel like I had a shower, but I didn't give him an ounce of credit for it. I gave it to God because I wanted this from God. I didn't care about Benny Hinn really. And I was disappointed in him too, because I'm a pastor. And that's what I do on my channel. I teach the Bible and I help people a lot. And one thing he did that kind of helped lead me a little bit to what I did was I got no discipleship or no understanding of what just happened. So he just sent me off the stage. I didn't know what in the world. I just flying all over the stage like I have wings, demons coming out and everything else. And then he just sends me off the stage and I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. So what happened, the Bible says, when you cast a demon out of somebody and they don't have the proper discipleship and they don't know how to continue in that relationship with the Lord, 7 times more bad ones can come back in. It's an open, empty house. That's what happened. I didn't get any discipleship of any directions of nothing, just send her off the stage. And the church, that little church, didn't do nothing either. So I just didn't go back. I never went back. And then I got worse on drugs, worse on alcohol. Everything got worse until I end up literally taking my life. Now, before I took my life, I was messing with this Ouija board. And I had asked the Ouija board, how am I going to die? And it spelled suicide. And it went, kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself. And I was like, whoa. And I took it back to Toys R Us. I said, I want my money back. And in the parking lot, before I took it in the store, I said, let me do it one more time. And I said, are you mad? I'm taking you back. And it spelled, you stupid. I said, this board just cussed me out, man. This board. So I took it into Toys R Us. And I said, I want my money back. This board cussed me out. Told me I'm going to, you know. Well, anyway, bottom line, it had literally happened. Now, at the same time, there was a girl that I was friends with a long time ago. I was cleaning houses and I really wasn't into church at all at that time. I was getting ready to go to ZZ Top concert the next day. I was ready to rock and roll. That's what I was. She's like begging me to come to her church. There's a prophet named Bobby Brown coming. I didn't care about that no more than the man in the moon. And so finally, just to shut her up, I went with her to this whatever. And we're sitting in the back pew on the left. And I'm the only white one in this church. He was a good friend of mine. And I'm the only white one in this church. And here he come, Prophet Bobby Brown, down the aisle straight to me. Pick her up, bring her up here. I said, girl, I said, I didn't want to go up there. And I said, okay, I will get you for this. So we walk on up to the aisle, me and Pastor Bobby Brown, Prophet Bobby Brown, and he's talking, the Lord says, and I'm thinking, this man's so full of, man, he thinking he's hearing. This is what I'm thinking in my, I'm like, these people, man. And then he said something. He yanked his hand off my head. He said, ma'am, the Lord told me to tell you, he sees you when you come home from work and you cry and you don't know why you're crying. I was like, I did that every day that week. Why are you crying, you crazy girl? So now I'm listening. And I'm like, well, he's hearing something. So he's prophesying again. He said, the Lord shows me the devil's going to try to steal your life through suicide. And he says to give your life to him. He's going to be your strong arm if you give your life to him. Now, these arms is real important. I'll show you why. And he said, there's going to be family members going to turn their back on you. You're not going to be able to deal with it. I thought, oh, not my family. We're a close family. That ain't going to happen. He's wrong about that. God's going to give you songs to write. He's going to use you in a mighty way in his kingdom. Every single bit of that stuff happened. All of it happened. Like 20 some years later, but it all happened. I found that prophet too. He's all old now and everything. But I said, sir, I need to let you know that everything you said happened. And God shows me stuff too. And I eat a lot of dirt for it because people don't understand, and I have to wait for the prophecies to come true. And then it's like, finally, sometimes they come to true right away, and sometimes you got to wait. Some of these that God had me tell you, I had to wait 5 years for. But they've all happened. That's why I'm back on. But at that fence, I noticed Jesus showed me, I seen his arm was very muscular right here because he had a robe on right here. So his muscle was, and it was his right arm I saw. This makes sense now because when he was standing in front of me, he turned and looked that way where he was as a kid. And I noticed his arm. And I remember thinking, wow. Jesus up in heaven, pumping iron, look at a fit, muscular, man. What in the world they doing up there? Just fit, rock solid. And then I thought no more about that. And so, but people ask me, and a lot of NDEs, they see Jesus, some of them do, looking different. And people would ask me, well, what did he look like? I'm like, for me, he looked different, then he'll probably look for you. Because if you get to see him, it ain't going to be just to see what he looked like. He's going to be trying to tell you something, show you something. It's going to be very personal and intimate, man. So he looked different for different people, you know, eyes different, whatever. Everything I seen on him was a parable. What's another word? Parable, idiom, things like that. Everything he showed me. This his muscles. I didn't understand that. When I was on your program 5 years ago, I didn't even know what none of this stuff meant. I know what I saw. Couldn't have told you what it meant. Now I know what it means. Through the years, he has revealed different things about why I showed you this, why I showed you that. That fence for 16 years, before I didn't even get saved. I got worse on drugs after he gave me a shove. Give your life to me. Go live for me. Shove me right here. And I come back puking up, volatile, like the exorcist. And my husband, like, he's like, Kim, he's shaking. And I'm coming to, and I'm like, I just saw Jesus. And I'm throwing up. I just saw Jesus, and then the next day, my sister, who had no idea what I had done, she's in another city, and she calls me up, Kim, I don't know what you're doing with your life, but I had a dream last night you were burning in hell. You need to change your life. I'm like, she had no idea that last night I almost went to hell. I was like, Lord, I couldn't take it. Oh my goodness. And now I'm sitting there wondering, why am I here? Why did he shut me back? And he didn't tell me the word. Now I'm really going to go to hell. I don't know what the word is. He told me to tell the people his word. I don't know. He didn't give me a word. He didn't send me no word, man. So I'm freaking out on that. I'm thinking about that fence. Here I was with Jesus Christ. I think about fence. That fence kept coming up in my head. Speed it all forward. April 24, 2020, when I lost my family. I was going to do something else that day. I'm not running around suicidal, but I was done. I'm done. And I had something to the side of my head, April 24, 2020. And I was in the front yard and I was going to pull it because I couldn't handle, my whole family was gone. Everything I ever known in life was gone. Just like that, over, boom, gone. One day you got it, next day it's gone. And you don't know it's coming, it just goes. And it was too much for me. And I never really tried giving my life to the Lord. It just wasn't something I was rock and roller, I was a Harley Davidson rider. I never thought about it. I just never thought, just wasn't my thing. So I knew I couldn't survive and live this life. I needed some help, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't know where to turn. So I had said, well, all right, God, I put it down. I said, I dropped in the ground, went forward. I said, I'm coming to you, but I'm all the way in and I need your help. You're going to have to teach me because I don't know nothing. And everybody that could help me was gone, dead, whatever. So I did. I gave my life to him and I came in the house and I heard him. I don't hear him audibly all the time. A couple times I have in my life, maybe 3 or 4. I heard him right up here as I came in the house. You're in training. That's all I heard. And I went into Donovan and told my husband I had just lost my family a few hours before, and I'm all really in bad shape. And I said, I just heard God, I'm in training. After everything I just went through today, lost my family, everything, I'm in training. It's kind of like sad, man. And so I go and pick up a Bible I have never picked up for my life. And I get my notebook and I get my pen. COVID has the world shut down. I don't know a Christian to talk to. Everything is just over in my eyes. And I start studying this Bible. I start reading this and writing down what this means, what that means. And I just stay there I'm still there in it, really. But that's what kept me sane the first whole year. He was showing me dreams like you don't know. Not every day, but that first year, man, when he says he's with the grief, the one that mourns, and he means it, man. Oh my goodness. And he was showing me all this stuff, which some of it I told you on your channel. And I got it right here. I have a guy on my channel that does my news for me. He does all my news and keeps us up with all that stuff because I got too much on me. But I'll tell him what God has shown me, and then he will tell me when it comes to pass. And we kind of feed everybody on that. So I put my glass on. When I was on your channel, I remember it was in August of 21. One of the things I told you was there's going to be disasters this coming fall, going to bring some death. Well, that fall, Hurricane Ida came the very next month. I forget how many people it killed. It killed over 110 people. And at the same time, there was atmospheric river. There was the northeast rain, high level flash flooding. All that flash flooding started coming. That stuff started coming right about then, because God showed me a lot of water events. And I told you that they're going to be no water, then water. Water, 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 no water, water, water. You know, it's happening, man. We get flooded. The whole world's flooding. Every time flooding since 2021, the floods have increased like crazy. Right now, it's Hawaii. They flooding. Somebody's always flooding since 2021. A lot of floods and a lot of deaths. Okay, and at the same time, well, like here in Virginia, I told my people on my channel that what the Lord told me. Okay, at the beginning of this winter, this is going to be a very unusually wet winter for a lot of people. In Virginia, I might get one, maybe two snows, not every year, but a little bit. This year we got 5 snows. I mean, a pretty good snows too. And while we're getting the snow, we're in drought right now at the same time. The ground is so saturated, our trees are falling over, and we're in drought at the same time. While all these floods are going on, all these heavy snows, the Mississippi's drying up, the Dead Sea is drying up, the Euphrates is drying up. There's instant snow water, then there's water, flash floods everywhere. And that's what a flash flood is. It's there, it's not there, then it is, you know, so it's all come to pass. I know I've learned how to understand the prophecies God will give me. I have the gift. I don't call myself a prophetess because I believe in it. I don't label myself because the gift comes from God. It's not on me, nothing of I've done. I can't show myself what's coming, but he does. He'll show it to me. And sometimes you got to wait for it. He showed me this war. 2020, he showed me this war with Iran right here with America. He told me 3 years ago, go to Israel, go now. He said, war's coming here. It was 4 years ago. Go to Israel, go now. War's coming here in a year and a half. And I told my tour guide, he said, we could have got more people. I said, I got 7 people, dude. I'm on YouTube. It's hard to get people to come to Israel off the internet. But we're here. I said, because war's coming here. We had to come now. And I said, and next year, war's going to be coming here with Iran. Iran's going to head it up. Next year came Hezbollah, came to war with Iran. God gave me this dream. It was 3.5 years ago. I don't remember exactly when, but we got it all wrote down. You remember the earthquake in Turkey. God had given me a dream, and I got up and called my friend Igor. I said, write this down, because he's in Australia, so I can go back to bed. I said, write this down. There, I saw a huge earthquake in the Middle East. I don't know where, but the Middle East, I know that, and I saw an 8. Can you please write that down? I saw an earthquake kill so many people. They're going to die, Igor. Can you please write this down? So he did, and then we waited. Here come that big earthquake in Turkey, 8 months to the date that God gave me that dream. And it was a 7.8. It was almost an 8. It killed over 55,000 people. Earthquake in Turkey and Syria. And I know my friends in Israel was concerned that it was going to spread out because there's a fault line under there. But anyway, so it's all going down. All the water events like crazy, where God had told me, that showed me that fall was going to start some disasters that was going to build, increase, and intensify since I was on your show. And that fall, there was some deaths from those things right there. And the fires, he showed me fires, man, the fires. Since I've been on your program, I told you a lot of devastation was going to come on everywhere, just increasing. Man, we've had Hawaii catching on fire. We've had what's that place called La Palma burning up. California on fire, floods. I mean, it's like a spirit of confusion. Now, I had to learn how to hear God, because 3 times he showed me darkness. And the first time I just got saved, somewhere around the time I was on your program, and I was like, oh, the grid's going down. But I'm glad I didn't go telling people on the internet that, because I didn't know what it meant. And then the next year, he showed me darkness again. And I'm like, well, maybe the grid's really going down this time, right? No, it didn't happen. So the 3rd year, he showed me darkness again. I'm like, okay, God, what are you trying to say? Because the grid ain't gone down. So what does this mean? It means spiritual darkness, deeper than darkness. Spiritual things are going crazy. People turning themselves into a dog. People turning themselves into a dragon. Lady marrying the color pink. So, I mean, if you're going to get technical, she could sue you for using pink, I guess, because she legally married the color pink. people turning into us, they, them, he, she, I don't know who, whatever, just the confusion, man. Just the confusion is a mess. And the spiritual in our leadership, the governments, all just messed up. Everybody is fighting everybody. The civil unrest God showed me was coming in 2020. The dreams that he gave me was in 2020. 2021, you were the first person I told them to. And then I've been telling to many other people. But they come to pass. He showed me this, the confusion, the civil unrest, and boy, oh boy, is that happening, man. If you don't like this president, you're kicked out of the family. If you don't like this president, you're kicked out of the church and you're shut down and you're done. Our friendship is over. All this nonsense stuff, and that is, in my opinion, in my knowledge, the spirit of an antichrist, because it ain't showing no love or trying to pull people together in unity. It's division. And boy, are we divided. Big time. So the civil unrest is definitely happening. Idol worship happening. There's I don't try to push who the Antichrist is, because I don't know who the Antichrist is. I do believe in a biblical Antichrist, but I don't know who he is, and I don't believe anybody else knows either. We know the spirit when we see a spirit that's anti-Christ, opposite Christ, and there's many of them. But who the one is, I don't know, and I don't believe anybody else. But boy, are we seeing the Antichrist spirit going right now, and the church, meaning the church as a whole, is definitely under persecution. And I tell my people, when you think of persecution, because remember, maybe you don't remember, I'm sorry. When I was on your program, God had recently at that time gave me this dream. It was a night vision. It means it was more than a dream, where I saw America falling. And I'm telling you, that first year of being in all that grief, God showed me so much stuff. He kept me so busy, and I had to go to the Bible to understand. America was falling. He showed me, this is important, because when I had my near-death experience, I was at a barn. Now, after I got saved, I'm in my night vision. I'm in a barn. I'm in the door of the barn, and the door is critical, because I didn't know Jesus called himself the door. I didn't know that. I had a lot go on in my life with a door. I did not know that. I had these demons trying to block the door. Jesus beat the devil through the door, and now I'm in a dream. I'm in the door of the barn. I'm not outside. I'm in it, and I'm in my barn, and it's nighttime. And I'm looking up, this in 2020, and I'm seeing this red, white, and blue cube falling really slow, all transparent, and I'm just like, wow, look like something out the movies. And it's coming out real slow, and it stops right here in front of my face. And there's this old woman in the rocket chair with a bun, and she's knitting a flag, America. And then I watch it. Now it moves, it goes, and I'm watching it go around the barn. I'm like, wow. Then I look up, the skies are in chaos. It's chaotic up there. Fireballs, rocks flying, everything falling. Just chaotic, man. Pew, pew. And these disco lights are falling down at the same time. And they're all shining, and they touch the ground. One is Jesus, and one is this, the best way I could describe it is a medieval looking guard, I guess. All black and everything, and had the mask on, and and Jesus was handcuffed in the front. They just went boop, right there, and he's handcuffed in the front. And I'm still in my barn, like, and he walked Jesus in front of me over here, and and then it starts raining. He had that robe on, come down his elbow, started raining, and now he's over here, and there's a black box, and that guard is fumbling for keys, trying to put Jesus in that box, and Jesus turns and looks at me and cries, tears down his face, and then I woke up. But I went straight to YouTube, and I'm like, y'all, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, but I noticed they never got him in that box. Never got him in that box. I said, America's falling, y'all, and it's falling from the inside, not the outside, the inside. And I've been hollering this out there since I've been on here, since around 2020. And I can't get anybody to listen. I'm telling you, America's falling from the inside. I holler so much out here, I have literally strained my vocal cords. The doctor said, you can't talk for 3 months. I said, I don't think so. I'm going to, I have literally strained them, trying to tell people this stuff, but like the Bible says, take a lesson from the ant, you sluggard. That's what God said. Take a lesson. I'm an ant. I'm not a big old person out here. I'm an ant. But God has shown me stuff that's happening, and I can't get nobody to listen to it. It's happening. Okay. America is falling from the inside. Right now where I live, gas, I'm in Virginia, was $2.30 a gallon for regular gas. Now it's $4. I'm gonna tell you something else. A steak is $30 for one steak, man. I got 3 pieces of chicken that was doggone $16. We can't hardly afford to eat anymore, let alone gas. Good, everybody get a bicycle. Right, a Wizard of Oz. Get a bicycle. I don't know, put your basket on it, because that's what it's coming to. It's a mess. America's falling from the inside. And Christian persecution, when people think of persecution, they think, I ask people, what do you think of persecution when you think about that? And they're like, oh, guillotines and FEMA camps and all that bunch of stuff. I said, no, man, it comes subtly, beautifully. Get the people to fight each other, hate each other, all this bunch of chaotic stuff. Well, the war God showed me that was coming is here. Here it is. And how that war showed me, how he showed me in 2020, it's all dream. In my dream, I'm outside. Here comes these airplanes. They look like old-timey bomber planes. And I see a whole bunch. There's a tent in my front yard, not really, but in my dream. There's a tent. And there's these warplanes coming in, and then they're little bombers, and then Russia and China on the outside. Russia came in after. These little ones was Iran. Then Russia came in after, and China. I didn't see them bombing, but they came in. And I told the people, I don't know what Russia and China is going to do, but they're going to be on Iran's side. I can tell you that when we come into war with America. And I've been hollering this, and it's happening. Now Russia's chiming in, stop the war, China's chiming in. It's all happening, okay? And we're in it, okay? So during this time, God had showed me so much stuff. Everything he showed me is going on with this. Like I said, when I'm bouncing all over the place because I'm trying to go as fast as I can and get this out to you. The strength, the muscles I saw in his arm is important because he was like, Kim, I didn't understand that till 4 years ago, what that even meant. I didn't even know it meant anything. Kim, he was trying to tell me at that fence. He didn't say it, but I know now what he was saying. In 16 years from today, you'll understand this. Until then, you ain't gonna have a clue what the world you saw here, but you'll remember. So I did. When I gave my life to him, like willing, like really, like I ain't messing around. Boom, I'm laying in bed talking to this friend, and Kim, I showed you my muscles because that's my strength. You need my strength to get through what you're doing, to get through the loss of your family and be teaching and preaching my word and running a ministry. You can't do that on your own. You need my strength. And boy, did I ever need his strength. That's why he showed me that. The nose. Kim, you're so afraid. You're afraid of me. Don't be afraid of me like that. Like I want to throw you in hell. I would throw anybody in hell. There is a hell. I believe very much I was on my way. But if we go, it's because we choose it. He don't throw us in hell. He give us free will. We get to choose what we want. He'll tell us, what's best for us, but he don't throw us in hell. And that's what I thought. He's like, Kim, I'm very patient. I'm very long-nosed. I'm of long nose, right? That's what that means, patient, slow to anger. Like, wow. His eyes, I remember looking in his eyes because we were face to face. And he had no pupils. There was no pupils in them eyes. Them eyes was eternal, man. There was no pupils. I noticed it. And at another time, when I was with him, I was standing in front of him the whole time. But I know I came from back there. That's where I know I came from. And I noticed that one time he was taller than me, but he was looking not through me, but like around me. He was looking like, okay, if I'm looking at you, it'd be to my right. He was looking that way. And I'm like, what is he looking at so hard? Because there's nothing back there. If you turn around and look, I can't see the earth. I just see blue skies, even though I know I came through a black trash bag or something. They're just blue. That's all I can see. And there's nothing there. And I'm like, what is he looking at so hard like that? And I turn around and look, and he had put his hand up here, and he let me feel this horrific wailing pain, man. Not physical, it was emotional. Gut-wrenching pain, man. And I knew it was just a little bit. And it's from people that he loves very much, his children that don't choose him, that he knows will be lost without him. It hurts him bad, man. And then he flipped it into this incredible love. Now, when I talk about this love, I don't know how to explain this except for it's pure. It's not the kind we have here. And we want it. I can tell you that. It's pure. And we know we're missing it. We know we was with him before we were ever us. And that's a fact. And he even tells you that in his word. We don't remember it. We can't. We wouldn't be able to function here if we did. But before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. This life is a test. This whole life is a test and a lesson. Choices is earth school. I call it earth school. But this love, man, and we're all looking for it. We jump into marriages and end up getting divorced and everything and having kids at 14 years old, trying to figure out what is love? We don't know what it is. Getting into drugs, sex, rock and roll, whatever, everything looking for it and just ruining ourselves left and right. When I found it in him, giving my life to him, like legit giving my life to him, I found this peace, this serenity that I couldn't find.
What has Jesus shown you that hasn't come true yet?
Okay, there's one thing that we're still waiting on, and we've been waiting on it for 3 years now. And I saw the ground crack open. I don't know if it's a sinkhole. He showed me so many disasters, man, that's happening on this earth. I don't know. People like to say all kinds of stuff. It's man-made, it's this. I don't know who making it. I just know he said, when you see these things increase and intensify, the beast system is rising, Kim, and I'm that closer to returning. And just like his word says, when you start seeing all these coming, so they're the one thing he showed me that hasn't happened. I saw 3 years ago the earth crack. I don't know where it was. It was just huge, and a lot of people died in it. I don't know if it's a sinkhole. That's the word we've been putting on it. But I told my friend, I don't really know if it is a sinkhole. I didn't see it sink in. I just saw it open up. I don't know what's going to open it up. These fireballs, I said it could be a fireball. God showed me all that sky stuff. Now we've had 3 fireballs. 2 of them hit the earth in just the past 2 weeks. Fireball meteorites, boom, boom, hitting the earth, and not, here they come. We've had birds falling out the sky since I've been on here. We've had airplanes falling out the sky, even though some of it was mechanical, it still fell out the sky. Space debris falling out the sky. I'm telling you, orbs, man. Let me tell you something. I'm not crazy. I'm trying to tell you this. I've seen orbs. Okay. 5 years ago, when I got saved, I was outside talking to my daughter. I've seen tic tacs about this long. I don't know about how long, really. I can't tell you how long. Shoom, right past. Boom. I don't know what that was. Me and her outside talking. We're looking up. If y'all have ever seen this, go outside at night and just look up, just gaze, kick it back and just gaze. And don't look at a star. Look at the inky blackness until you see a star flying. It can't be a satellite, because if it was that low, it would fall. I don't know what it is, man, but they're flying. They'll come. You'll see they look like a star. It'll fly. It'll turn. It'll do all kind of crazy stuff. And so my husband, I think he thought I was losing my mind when I first lost my family, because I came in and said, the stars are flying, man. And he didn't believe me. Finally, I got him outside. I said, just wait. So my whole family, my grandkids, everybody, we're outside looking up. If there goes one right there, and not speeding, it's cruising. They're cruising, and then it'd be cruising this way. It's just weird. And the orbs, talking to my daughter in the yard in 2020. Yes, 2020. Boom, an orb flew right. She went, whoa. And I was like, did you see that? I don't know what that was. So I know now there's orbs in Iran. We're seeing them. Don't know what they are. People got all kind of opinions on them. I can't say what they are. I'm not going to pretend like I know, but they're there. They are there. And that's all I know. Strange things in the skies is what God showed me, and it's happening. And the sky's very chaotic. CMEs, when I was on your program, I didn't even know what a CME was. Even though we have them all the time, they are hitting the earth now in the past 3 years. Boom, 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 boom. Big ones, earth facing. That's what's different. And there's like a plastic shield between the earth and space that has been penetrated by these CMEs, letting space junk get on this earth like radiation. They're starting to see auroras now in a lot of places, and that's not a good thing. Aurora's full of radiation. So the skies are, and that's one thing I told you on this program 5 years ago, the skies were going to get ready to get hectic, and they are. Everything's falling out of the skies, man. There's all kinds of skies is chaotic. And also, not just devastating chaotic, but there's more satellites in 2021 forward than there ever has been. It's like a highway jammed up there in space. Is chaotic. The heavens are chaotic. And this is the things that God told me on your program. And this is what we're seeing. It's all here. And it ain't going to get no better. And that's what the Lord said. It's going to increase and intensify. That's the two words he gave me. And I don't know what's going to cause that sinkhole, but what I do from it, I get out here the best I can. And I try to tell people, do you need prayer? Can I pray with you? Is there anything you need? You know, we help a lot of people, not to cause fear, but things are happening. You know, they're really going down and people, and so I'm here to pray with people. Do they need prayer? You know, and we have like this online ministry where I don't just do YouTube. I have an online church where we go into our Google Meet room 5 nights a week and we are studying together, praying together. We got an online play I just did. We all did this big play. You know, we're so unified. We're family. You know, we do help a lot of people in many ways, but that's the main thing why God is showing me this stuff is to lead people to him, not to me, to him. That's why I don't call myself a prophetess. I don't like to take that kind of title when it don't belong. It just, I know it comes from God. He deserves it, the glory, not me. But it's all happening.
Did you see what the outcome of this war?
No, I didn't see the outcome. He just showed me it coming because when I saw it, I knew I had to, when God will show me stuff, my job is to try to lead people to the Lord. So, and that's what happened when I saw them airplanes coming in, I ran into this tent. I've been telling people for 5 years as I ran, you'll start hearing Russia and China chiming in with America and Israel. I ran into the tent. Every time God showed me something, there's always been something that I ran into, be it a bus or a tent or a boat or whatever. And that represented him. That's what it did. That represented him. So my job, and that's what I did. I ran into the tent. I was hollering, get in the tent. And when I got in the tent, I could hear it outside. Boom, boom, I could hear it. And people in the tent was drinking tea with the pinkies up in the air, like nothing was going on. And I knew what that meant. In Jesus, you're safe. You know what I'm saying? But outside Jesus, you ain't safe. It ain't safe out there. And that's exactly what I'm very much into Jesus big time because, well, I've been with them and I'm still experiencing. But the main thing, I don't know what this war is going to bring out, except for what the Bible says, but he didn't show it to me. But I'll tell you, everything else he showed me in like Luke 22, 20, 21, 25, and there will be signs in the sun, the moon, the stars, upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, and the sea and the waves roaring. Man, you know, it's all going down. That the heat, the water in the oceans has been rising. That started from Europe. I said water infiltration on your channel. My news guy said, Kim, you said that wrong. It's water intrusion. So it was water intrusion that was affecting our oceans over here and everything. Yeah. So I don't know what this war will bring, but what I do know is right now, I will say this, that I don't know if they're getting ready for an alien invasion or a reveal. This is what God told me, though. I'll tell you this, on July the 13th, and it's on my channel from that day. July the 13th, the Lord gave me a dream. He said, the big quakes start now. He said, manifestations start now. 3 days later, there was that big old earthquake. I forget where. I remember where, Alaska, I think. Few days, it was a 7 point something. A few days after that, an 8 point whatever. It was the 6th biggest quake in the history of Earth. The 6th biggest one ever. And it caused some volcano to blow or something. A few days after that, another 7 point, they were boom, 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 you know? And the deception, God is showing all these signs to people that I witnessed to show that the Bible is real and things are happening. The rest of it's going to happen too. You know, it's all going down. And my job is to lead people to the truth, man. You want the truth, or you want to, walk around and just don't know what to believe. Even though I'm Jewish, I've got friends and family that are Orthodox Jews, saying they don't believe like I do. And I'm done believing like they did. But we still get along. But in this country right now, it's like our own leadership is doing what the Bible said, man. Like Psalms 82, getting the leaders are not doing right by the people, y'all. America is falling from the inside, not the outside. And that's exactly what's happening. And I've been hollering this for 5 years, man. And you know, it's just all going down. So I would just encourage people to, I have to say, give your life to Jesus. Try him. If you ain't tried it, try him. Like, try a real relationship. Pray to him. Study your Bible, man. You'd be surprised at stuff in here. And then when he does give you dream and vision, because he does, you'll understand it, what he showed you, because he may show you blackage, and it may not mean the grid's going down. It may mean something else, and he'll have to tell you what it means, you know. So he also had me in a dream on a roller coaster. God did, and I was talking to him. I didn't see him, but he was there. I could hear him. He had me in a roller coaster in the ocean. I write songs that God has given me songs, and one of them I wrote about this song. I was in the ocean 2020 when I first got saved, and it went straight up and straight down. And I remember in the ocean, it was in the middle of the ocean. I could see nobody. The ocean was chaotic, spraying up waves the size of doggone tsunami, everything. And I'm in a roller coaster, and I'm like, I'm going to die. And I heard God. He said, stay in the car, stay on the track. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go. And it went straight down. I'm arguing straight down, and it went poosh into the water. And then I'm in the water. I'm underneath in the water, and I'm like, it's slowed down. I'm like, I could breathe in here. I could see up there. It's chaotic, chaotic up there. Good in here in the water. I didn't know what the world that meant, but now that I have grown more in my faith, in the water's the word. That's the word that he said you're going to teach. I didn't even know the word was called the Bible when he said you're going to teach the people my word. I didn't know. I was so upset. Like, he didn't give me a word. Now I'm really going to go to hell because he didn't give me a word to tell the people. You sent me back without a word. And I was really upset about that. But this is the word. And this is the water, in the water. I'm all in the water, like living it. And now that's when you get your understanding of stuff God will show you. I don't have a gift of, I'm not a psychic. I have a gift of prophecy. So a lot of people will come and ask me sometimes after I do a testimony, can you tell me my future? And no, I cannot tell your future, but God will give me future that will help lead people to him, because it'll all come to pass. And it don't lead nobody to me, but it leads them to him. And that's why he gives me that gift. And I got the gift, and it's all come to pass. And I figure it would be great to get that out there, because on a lot of channels I've been on, I've given the things that he showed me, but I don't know if they've known that it actually happened, that it's happened. It's all happened,
Do you think Jesus is going to be returning soon?
Oh, yes, absolutely. This is what he said. It's what he said. When you start seeing all these signs everywhere, in the sun, the moon, the stars, the earth, or perplexity, man. Yes, absolutely. That's when he comes. When the nations start turning on each other, and, the biblical prophecy, every nation will point their gun towards Israel. And that all goes into another whole thing. But yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah. This world can't go on much like this. When you got our own leaders that is put in place to supposed to take care of us, that's not, God is it's dangerous. Yeah, we got a leader. He'll be coming soon. Absolutely, 100%. All the signs are everywhere. That's what I just read. Yes, sir.
What's the name of your YouTube channel?
My channel is called We Are Jesus Doers. And then I have a website that's just JesusDoers.com. So We Are Jesus Doers. And we have on the website, we have a ministry. You'll see the barn, the big red barn, and we come in there 5 times a week. We really do. We study. We're going in there tonight, actually. Tonight's Shabbat. It's Shabbat now, Shabbat Shalom, Friday evening. And we study. We really study together a lot. We grow. We are really family-like in there. We're very family-like in there. And yeah. And I really enjoyed seeing your growth since I've been on here too. You're really whacking it. You're doing good.
Thank you.
You're doing really good. Yeah, very good. You've been always good to your guests, and you let your guests speak, and you do such a good job with your guests. We've all said that on my channel about your
Oh,
stuff.
thank you very much. Did you see anything about the monetary system?
Oh yeah, the money. Yes, yes, I did. It was okay. In 2020, when Donald Trump lost the presidency, God had given me a dream about him that he would be president again. Okay, so I've waited on that. And he says, before he became president this time, they were counting up tallying the votes. And it looked like Kamala was higher. So I started seeing the Christians out here kind of getting nervous and yancy. And I went outside and God gave me a word. And this was the word he gave me directly. And it's live. It was on there on my channel. Donald Trump wasn't president yet this time. God said, just like I took my children through the Red Sea, you're going to go through the Red Sea. But when we came out of Egypt in the Red Sea, we went into the wilderness. We didn't go to the promised land of Canaan. We went in the wilderness 40 years. So a lot of people thought we were going to go straight to the promised land when this president came into play, but we in the wilderness. Okay. Gas prices falling, we are at war. You know what I'm saying? And so that it's definitely happened. And around the same time ish, the Lord showed me in another dream that Donald Trump was going to change the money system a little bit, something different to do with the money. I didn't know exactly what. I felt like Bitcoin. And then about 6 months later, he has a statue of himself with a gold Bitcoin. We're like, that must be it right there. And then there's more. I said, no, there's going to be some kind of a change. Something's got to change. But he didn't really change anything. Well, and I really thought I was the first one on YouTube to blab it out last night. I tried to be, man. I don't know if I made it or not. But really, because to me, it was like, I've been waiting on this. He is changing something that's never been done before. And the Bible says the Antichrist, whether he's it or not, he's got the spirit, changes times and laws. When he's signing his name, not only on a Bible in gold and selling it for $1,000 because his name is in it, Dave. That's another thing. He's signing his name on the American dollar, the fresh $100 bills, Donald Trump. And that's a no-no because the Secretary of State says no sitting president, no president's allowed to sign no money because it makes it political. And it just messes a lot of it, but he's doing it. He changes times and laws. And he's done it. He's doing it.
A while back ago, he did create Trump coin, didn't he?
Oh, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So all of that is everything I'm telling you, God showed me being fulfilled, y'all. It's amazing to me. He changing times and laws and monies and it's probably going to change more than this, to be honest with you. I'll tell you something that may sound funny. He could, because people say he can't. I'm not saying he will, but I'll say, I'm not going to say God told me this, but I feel it. I feel it really hard. So let's see. But I feel like he could run for a third term. I know people say he can't. Well, he can't sign money either, but he did, didn't he? This man changes stuff, y'all. Stuff is, so hey, let's see what happens.
Generally, how do you feel about the future? Positive or pessimistic?
I feel positive for me because I know where my future is leading to. But for this right here, not so good because what I feel and what I understand from what I understand is all this leadership is wanting one thing, power. When they want power so much, they don't care who gets hurt underneath. Our kids are in trouble, we in trouble, grandkids in trouble, all that stuff, because our leadership don't care. They care about power, and they're showing that right now. They just care about them. So it's not looking, the future ain't looking so bright. My future is I'm going to heaven. So my future looking good. you get with Jesus Christ, man, your future will look good, but on this earth not looking so good. And just like it said in Luke, that there will be distress on the nations with perplexity. That means some intense stuff, and man, we're in it. We're in it. Perplexity.
If people want to ask you questions, should they leave you comments on your YouTube videos?
Oh, they can leave me comments. Excuse me. They can leave comments, or they can email me. I answer every email I ever get within a day or two. Yeah, you ask anything. I've got people helping me out that I try to respond to everybody. I'm not that big. I got like 12,000 people, so I try to respond to everybody, and I do my best to do that. I'm very personal, very interactive with everybody on there. Yeah. But because I really just want to help people. I don't sell stuff or nothing like that. I just want to help people that want to know how to get their life right with the Lord. I want to help them. Yeah. And I do best I can.
Kim, before we finish up, can you leave us with a last positive message?
Yes, and it's going to be definitely about Jesus Christ. I would say definitely, if you're confused, if you're caught up in anything, you're not sure, just, I would say, give Jesus a chance, man. Just try him out, because there's nothing like him. And if you want answers, he is it. He's the truth. He said, I am the truth. He is the truth. And just ask him to show you the way, and he will. Trust him.
Kim, thank you for your message, and thank you for being my guest again.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.